Welcome to the Startup Grind.
I'd like to introduce Nicole Froker. She's held positions at A&E TV and Gartner. She's on the founding team of Google Entrepreneurs and is currently the Partner Engagement Manager. And she actually traveled here from the Bay Area, and for that, we're eternally grateful. Come on in. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you for having me. And it's actually Froker.
Froker?
Yes.
I've been pronouncing it around all this time.
Well, that's okay. It's a very common mistake. I blame Meet the Parents. When that movie came out, it became Froker, not Froker.
Nicole Froker.
Thank you.
I should have actually asked it. I was actually wondering if that was I normally do, and I forgot to ask.
No problem.
So part of the in the interview, I just like to get the audience to know you. So, where are you originally from? What did your parents do?
Yeah, so I am born and raised in the Bay Area. Grew up here and spent all of my time here except for two blips. One was when I was 8 years old, and my parents quit their jobs and moved my brother and I to Europe, where we camped around in a VW camper for a year. And then came back here and then left for college in Connecticut and lived there for a little while, and then couldn't take the winters anymore, and so I moved back to San Francisco. So grew up here, and my parents, my dad just recently retired, but he worked at a company called Focusrite, which provides hardware and audio products for professional and amateur musicians. And my mom's actually an entrepreneur. A few years ago, she started a company called Top Move Management that helps move seniors living in homes to assisted living facilities. And she takes care of everything from the estate planning to packing to unpacking and organizing and downsizing. So
That's a great business.
it is. So yeah.
And so as a child, what did you inspire to be?
That trip through Europe was super inspiring to me in a number of ways, but it really opened up my eyes to the broader world. We lived in 10 different countries in a year. We were camping in sometimes very remote campsites where it was just me and my brother, and I had to really get outside of my shell and try to meet new people. And being a shy, introverted kid was quite difficult, but it really opened my eyes to other cultures and taught me that there's just this wide world out there. So that was a really informative moment in my life, and I at that point was like, okay, I just need to be a travel writer. I loved reading, I loved writing, and I was intent on traveling a lot from then on. So it's not too late.
I assume you travel a lot with GFE.
I do.
You can kind of do that on the side.
I do, and I write a lot of emails, so I'm a travel writer.
So actually what I found kind of interesting from your LinkedIn was that you worked at A&E TV. So what was that about?
Yeah, good question. My career's been very nonlinear. I graduated from Fairfield University in Connecticut and in 2008, so right when the recession hit, and had a difficult time finding a job at first. And the first thing I found was this freelance position as an associate producer at A&E, which owns the History Channel, Bio Channel, Military History, all of those. It's the umbrella network for all of those channels. So I got into television and did that for a couple years. And one thing I loved about it was, especially as a new graduate, I had no real skills to speak of, and they did a ton of on-the-job training, which was very refreshing and I think not very common. And so I learned a lot about Avid Media Composer and how to splice content and create content that was coming out for bonus material and on DVD and Blu-ray. So I worked on shows like, if anyone knows, Pawn Stars or Gene Simmons' Family Jewels, or the classics, exactly. So yeah, did that for a couple years, and like I said, I was not passionate about television, and although I loved that job, I was ready to move back to the Bay Area.
So when you were at when you started Google, you actually were part of the founding team for Google for Entrepreneurs. So tell me how that came. How did you create this division, Google for Entrepreneurs, or not? What was the what was the idea behind it?
Yeah, so I was I think the fourth or fifth person on the Google for Entrepreneurs team. Google for Entrepreneurs got started because our founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, who founded Google and started in their dorm room in Stanford and moved to a garage and built this startup that's now 70,000 people globally, are extremely passionate about entrepreneurship, and they saw the power that entrepreneurs have to change the world. In around 2011, they were noticing that there was a lot of ad hoc organic outreach taking place across the company by people who wanted to work with startups just in their own free time. They were mentoring or coaching, or they were doing some angel investments. Whatever it was, there was a ton of outreach taking place company-wide, so they wanted to organize all of that outreach under one umbrella. And they had Google Ventures, which was their venture capital arm investing in U.S. companies only at the time. But they said, they looked around and they said, what about everything outside of investment? How can we help support the next generation of entrepreneurs, of ecosystem builders? And so they created Google for Entrepreneurs and asked Mary Grove to lead the team and create the vision. And at the time I was working at Google Ventures with Bill Maris, and so I had met Mary and was so taken in by her vision, her passion for this work. And I said, I just want to do something with your team. Like, give me whatever grunt work you have. I will take notes during meetings. I'll do whatever it is to help you out. And gradually I took on more and more projects, and she hired me eventually. So I've been on the team about 6 years now.
Yeah, I actually was thinking if I had to go back and work in the corporate world, I think Google for Entrepreneurs would be my dream job.
That's so funny, because I always said as a younger person to my parents, I will never work for a big corporation. Like, that will never, ever happen. And somehow it happened. But to your point, Google for Entrepreneurs, I think, might be the only thing that can.
I think there's something like 8 people in the organization.
No, we have 33 globally now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the, can you talk about some of the projects you worked on in Google for Entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so my team. So I work on the partnerships team with GFE. We're a team of 5 people, and our work actually spans the globe. We have a global mandate. So our team supports the best community leaders and organizations that are supporting entrepreneurs. So we help fund these organizations like tech hubs, co-working spaces, accelerator programs, Startup Grind. We've been a powered by sponsor of Startup Grind since 2013, I believe. And we don't just want to write a check to these organizations. We really try to think about what is the unique value add that Google can provide to help our partners and help the startups within their communities grow and thrive. So whether that's talent, capital, access to product expertise, technical expertise, we try to figure out what is how can we bridge the gap between the local Google office and our tech hub in Detroit, for example, and figure out what a collaboration looks like there. So on the partnerships team, that's really my role, is to help channel Google resources to our partners and startups. One of the things that I work on is a program called GFE Exchange, Google for Entrepreneurs Exchange. It's a 1-week immersion program for startups looking to enter a new market. So what we do is we work in close collaboration with a partner organization of ours to run this 1-week immersive program for startups from all over the world around a specific vertical. So in the past, in Nashville, we ran a health tech exchange program. We just ran one in Zurich with our partner Impact Hub around AI and machine learning. And startups will apply from all over the world, get selected, and get connected to industry leaders, mentors, and businesses there, and learn sort of the ins and outs to expand to that local market. So that's one of the programs that I run and am very passionate about.
Do you actually work with the startups directly at all, or do you observe them?
I do have contact with them through our partners, and another great program we run is called Startup Advisors. It's a Google mentorship program where we pair startups within our partner communities with Google Mentors over a 3-month period. So in that way I get exposed to a lot of the great companies that are up and coming around the world. We have an annual demo day that we run in San Francisco meant to drive investment into some of the top companies based outside the Bay Area. So I do get to meet a lot of great companies that are coming through. I will say there's a whole other side of Google for Entrepreneurs, which is our suite of campuses. These are physical buildings owned and operated by our team, dedicated to the startup community, where we have a co-working space, cafe where anyone can become a member for free, sit at the cafe, and get access to this really global community. So quite similar to a tech hub, but we have 6 of those campuses globally right now, and that's really more of our B2C play, where we're able to have that sort of local support and engagement with the community.
So when are you going to open one in Sacramento?
Good. I know, that's a good, I'll pitch that to the team.
Where's Barry? See Barry?
Yeah.
Just take a couple million square feet off the same as they brought.
Yeah, there we go.
I think I lost
You
one.
know, we can balance things out and work out.
All right, I'm with you.
I lost one. Here, so, have you, from your years at GFE, have you seen any startups that really stand out that you can think of that you can talk about?
Yeah, there's so many great companies that we've supported and our partners have supported. One of my favorites is we work with this organization in Queens, New York called Coalition for Queens. Has anyone heard of them? They run a 9-month access code program for people from low-income backgrounds and teach them the skills they need to work in tech. And the average starting salary of someone joining that organization, that program, is $18,000 a year. And by the time they graduate 9 months later, it's $80,000 a year.
Wow.
And they work at some of the top tech startups after graduating from that program. So we just had a guy, Ray, go through that program. He was an auto mechanic and had 2 kids and was just kind of struggling to make ends meet. He found out about Coalition for Queens, got accepted into the program, and now he's working at a top New York City startup, and his kids are now learning to code. And it's just these kinds of stories that are really inspiring to me. We actually had our annual demo day in March, and a startup grind company won demo day and raised $250,000 on the spot, which was great. Sheer share. So.
They actually went to 500 startups.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's very exciting to see a lot of these stories come out month to month.
And actually, on the flip side, have you seen any, can you think of any, without naming names, any spectacular flops?
Without naming names, that we've supported, I don't know actually.
Okay.
Let me come back to you on
Okay,
that.
that's fine. It's always interesting. So there's actually, you had a little bit of chance to talk to others. There's a lot of entrepreneurs here that have their own startups. Is there any programs that they could take advantage of?
Yeah, so I always say, where we don't have a partner organization like a physical hub or an accelerator, you obviously have a great Startup Grind presence, and that's one of the ways that we've been able to scale our work is through great organizations like Startup Grind and Startup Weekend. But I often say that we promote a lot of our programs, upcoming programs like Demo Day, like Exchange, like a lot of these other great immersive programs that startups can take advantage of through our Twitter account. So Google for Entrepreneurs, just make sure you follow us on Twitter, because that's where we'll, again, announce a lot of these upcoming initiatives. I'd say, Startup Grind, just networking with your community is such a great place to start. You guys are all here to build connections, make friends with people, and I think that's often the great way to hear about what some other resources are that people can take advantage of. There's some great online resources that I actually really love. I love Y Combinator's blog. I think they have a lot of great content on there that's really highly curated and really actionable. If anyone has, sorry?
What was that again?
Oh, the Y Combinator blog.
Oh, Y Combinator?
Yep, they're an accelerator program. They have great content. The Google Ventures library, gv.com/library, they have a lot of great content around hiring product managers, leadership, how to build a pitch deck. So they have a lot of great content as well. So I think online there's a lot of great things. And just one last online resource, I'll do a shameless plug for startup.google.com. This was a site that we launched last year that was meant to be a one-stop shop resource for all of the curated content that's out there. So we are sort of pointing toward, great Udacity courses or technical content or a lot of these great resources that are out there.
I'll actually just throw this out. So Google actually has they actually just reinvigorated a 20K program. So if you, it's for Google Cloud. So if you want to have Google Cloud come, we can offer a 20K Google Cloud credit. So if you are interested, come see me and I'd sign you up. And I've actually signed up several startups already.
Thank you for the reminder. Yes, we were offering a $20,000 cloud credit. We try to work really closely with product teams at Google to figure out how can we help channel Google resources, product credits to startups. So right now we have that 20K credit, which is great. So yes, talk to Rich if you're interested.
And with that, I'm going to go ahead and open up with questions. John?
Sorry. Does that, I'm using Google Firebase, is that considered Google Cloud?
Yes. Yes.
Come see me.
Yeah.
I'll sign you up. All right, so I'm going to open up the questions. Go ahead, Brenda.
Hi, with only 2% of all venture capital money going to women, female founders in the tech ecosystem, is Google doing anything for that group, that demographic? Like, are you guys starting any initiatives?
The other 50% of the population?
Yeah. Yeah, you guys,
What's your name?
I'm Brenda.
Brenda.
Yeah.
Brenda. Thank you. It's a great question. And I know it's so funny. I think that I just read that women are starting companies at a faster rate, at least in the US, than men. And then there's this huge drop off in access to capital. So it's a huge problem. On the Google for Entrepreneurs side, diversity and inclusion is a core pillar of our work. And we really think about this across all that we do. So it's not just one-sided. We do a number of different things. We partner with diversity-focused organizations. So we're partnering with, for instance, Ostia that seeks to help entrepreneurs get access to capital. We run a lot of our own programs. One of my favorites, a couple years ago, we ran a campaign called 40 Forward, where we put a challenge out to our global partner network and said, we want to increase the representation of women across all of our communities by 25%, propose a program or a solution on how to do this, and we'll commit $1 million in aggregate to make those programs come to life. And a year later, I think we got to a 16% increase, so not quite there, but it was an ambitious goal. But a lot of these programs still exist to this day, and so we saw that as a great way to first gather a lot of data around why there weren't more women in these communities, and then also to help move that needle incrementally, but on a global scale. We have run women's demo days. There are a lot of different initiatives we're working on, and Google itself is I think, taking a very proactive approach to this, whether it's working with a lot of community leaders. We have a great initiative called Women Tech Makers that is seeking to get more women in tech and STEM. But yes, it's a long-term play, and we're continuing to learn around what works and how we can help these communities around the world make a change as well.
Actually, so May for Startup Grind is Female Founder Month, and
Yes.
we still do that.
Yes, that developed out of 40 Forward,
Right,
the campaign.
My wife still has
Yeah.
a T-shirt from that campaign.
But we have women more often than once.
Yes, we probably had 3 female speakers this year.
Yeah, I'm really, this is a huge passion project of mine, and I'm, particularly interested in this idea around inclusion. I think there's a ton of focus around diversity, which is great, and inclusion is sort of thought of as this afterthought, but really, if you're fostering an environment in a community where people feel that they belong, then that's inherently going to breed more diversity. And so, particularly at our campus spaces around the world, we're really thinking about everything from design, making sure that the design and aesthetic of the place reflects a open atmosphere where people feel like they're welcomed. The programs we run in these spaces, we have a great program called Campus for Moms, for new moms on maternity leave who are looking to start a company and need that support. They can bring their babies to campus. We have mothers' rooms, we have crying rooms. So it's I think about creating this really inclusive environment where people feel that they can come and be their true self. And I think that will inherently foster a more diverse community as well. So we're working on it.
Yep.
Yes.
I got 3 stacked questions.
Okay.
Do you guys at Google for Entrepreneurs measure your own progress?
Yes.
If so, how? And regarding Sacramento, what could happen here that would score points on your system?
Yeah, so I'll address the first part. We do measure our progress. We're very lucky to be sort of on a non-ROI track for Google, but that doesn't mean that we are not measuring the work that we're doing. So we look at a couple different things. We look at, first of all, the reach. How many entrepreneurs are we reaching through our campus work, but also through our global partner network? And how many entrepreneurs are we training, or how many are we equipping with skills? So these are the kind of metrics we track around reach. But we're also tracking the impact that entrepreneurs are having and that our partners are having. And specifically in the economic impact bucket, we're seeing that entrepreneurs are, the gateway to economic growth for any community. And so some of the metrics that we look at are around job creation and funding raised. So those are kind of the 2 larger metrics we look at around impact. In terms of Sacramento, you guys have all the ingredients of a highly functional startup ecosystem. You have density, you have talent, you have capital, you have the culture. So in our eyes, it's very much a developed ecosystem where I think any great startup has come out of, will come out of. In terms of our work specifically, at the moment, we're very focused on expansion in Asia, in Latin America, less so locally, but not to say that it's off our radar. I think we always have a mind on looking at which ecosystems are really coming to the fore, and especially in my conversations today with Barry and Cynthia and others, like knowing that this is a really, really high potential market. So I think there's very exciting things to come. Yes.
So I'm a Startup Weekend organizer and a Startup Digest curator, both of which
She's actually our
Google
startup queen here.
for Entrepreneur supports. And with Rich on Startup Grind, are there other global partners that we should know about here in Sacramento that we could take advantage of your partnership with them to further entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it's a great question. Startup Grind, Startup Weekend, Techstars, those are our global partners at the moment. But I think there are some other really great organizations out there. I'm just learning a little bit more about Endeavor, which I think has a really interesting model of working with ecosystem players, business leaders, venture capitalists. They have a tremendous mentor network. I don't know that they have a presence here in Sacramento yet, but Endeavor is a great organization. But yeah, as of right now, Startup Grind and Startup Weekend are our big global partners.
Do you support Kauffman Foundation and 1 Million Cups at all?
We don't. We've had conversations with them, worked with them, but no formal partnership currently.
We have a chapter here too.
You do? Good. Okay.
And she's part of those too.
Good.
She's everything.
You're everything. We should chat afterwards. Great.
John?
No, she kind of answered one of my questions. Because I'm an entrepreneur, I've been looking at trying to find funding for my startup. But it seems to me more of the way startups are getting, I would say, VC funding and so forth is basically you have to go out to San Francisco or Palo Alto in order to get in with these communities or these groups in order to get some type of funding, backing, and get on the right track. So if you're not within the community there, it's kind of hard to, get in, if you don't know anyone, it's kind of hard to get into that community. And it makes it hard for the entrepreneurs that are outside of that bubble, diversity, women, and so forth, in order, if you're coming from, Roseville or Sacramento or so forth, it's kind of one of those things is if you're not in San Francisco, there is no real funding for you. Because I look out here in Sacramento, I've been out here forever. I've been looking for funding forever. And there's nothing really out here.
Yeah.
There are people that say, hey, we'll help you. We have certain resources, but they don't have no real way to push you forward. Like if you were actually in San Francisco where you're around money and people that have the resources.
Yeah.
So to me, it's kind of like, we're all entrepreneurs here, but it's like, is there really help at the end of the day? To tell the truth, the reality of the matter is this, there isn't.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us in here would probably be a lot further than what we are if we really did have true backing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I sympathize. I know it's a really, really tough challenge. I can speak to a few of the initiatives that we run as a team, whether it's Demo Day or Black Box Connect, some of these great programs that do try to connect entrepreneurs with VC investors. But yeah, I wish I had a better, more scalable solution. Yeah.
Oh, it is what it is, but I understand, the demographics of what's going on in San Francisco because I have a developer too that are out there right now. And, I have to go to San Francisco to find my tech guys.
Yeah.
And then me and my guys that graduated from, Sac State, they're out there working, making more money, they have more resources out there.
What are they finding is helpful in terms of connecting with investment or
Well, connecting with investment, it's just when they're out there, there's basically VCs on every corner. Mm-hmm. So it's easy for them to just walk in. Rather than sending somebody a letter saying, hey, I got this going on. Because we all have great ideas, we all have talent. Like we said out here, there's a bunch of talent. We have an ecosystem out here, but it can only go so far without the funding to actually push it.
Yeah.
Silicon Valley is a different animal. But 60% of VC money is there, so nationally. So, but we are 2 hours away. So you're doing the right thing. Is if you're looking, if they're there, just go to San Francisco. It's just a 2-hour drive.
I take drive-in all.
Yeah, me too.
I'll show up on their front door and but they'll look at me like, no, send it in by email. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it still won't get answered. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to figure this out for myself.
All right.
I'd like that to ease of access to high concentration of venture capital funding firms doesn't mean ease of funding. So it might also be that it's just because of what Rich mentioned, it's tremendously competitive up there. Just because there's so many startups in there. In regards to the ecosystem, what we will serve is that here, what we have happening from the innovation piece, there's a lot of early stage growth, and we need different mechanisms for that. And it's not even the send homegrown firms that you'll find out there. We need a program like Google for Entrepreneurs, Miracle like Techstars, we need something of that nature to begin to fuel that. In regards to the A and B, we've seen a lot of Series A and B rounds in the 20 million, where I think we're top 23rd nationally or 22 for Series A and B.
No, we're in the top 15 in the U.S. last year.
So it really, I think because there's so many ways to measure the ecosystem, maybe we kind of have to narrow down which areas to focus on.
Well, she made a point earlier about, they're setting up different programs in different areas. But if you really look at it, they're only setting it up in certain areas. and not really, like, they should have something in Sacramento if they know there's tremendous growth out there. But there's not really anything, you know? It's kind of one of those things where, okay, you got startup grind, you got this, you got that, but the companies that are really getting set up, or the sales that they're setting up, it's like they're diversifying a certain amount of money. Are they really putting it into the communities like they should be?
Right.
And at the end of the day, the reality of the matter is not, you know.
All right, Laura.
You got our,
Okay, so I just want to say that I go to these entrepreneurship global meetings that people from every country, every state go to. They are so jealous of our proximity to the Bay Area because, I mean, you talk about you got to go an hour and a half, 2 hours to the Bay Area. Well, I mean, they're in Kansas City or somewhere like that. And I think that when we compare ourselves to the Bay Area, we're doing ourselves a real disservice, that we should be looking more at cities of our size and celebrating the fact that we can take a day trip to go to a great event for entrepreneurs. We could take 6 weeks, 3 months out of our life and go through an accelerator program there without, you know, be able to be home on the weekends. That we have a lot of resources here in Sacramento and close to the Bay Area that, you know, we just have to stop saying we're not the Bay Area, because we're not, but enjoying what they have to offer. That's my 2 cents.
here, here.
And we have a great quality of life. Every time I go in the Bay Area, I always feel sorry for those people, and so much joy comes back when I come back.
All right, you convinced me. I'm moving here.
You know, we could give you a great tour if you can see the mayor.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cindy?
So there was a question put out by Laura actually in the startup community on Facebook about what do we need here in Sacramento, and other than free pizza, which was the number one answer. Oh, that's
More
true.
funding.
More funding and free pizza. But my kind of half joking but not really response was some opportunity to get support during the trough of tears when you're just feeling like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold on. I know it's a good company. I know there's a product that's needed. So is there something Google could think of to provide support, a helpline, a 1-800?
Startup grind?
That's what we're here for.
Well, I don't know if I can call you at 1 in the morning and tell you I feel like my company is never going to make it.
Well, you caught me at 9.
Okay. Anyway, it seems to be kind of a common heartbreak for startups, and if there was kind of a way to get us, you know, in a forum where we could go, oh, I just don't know, I haven't got the runway and blah blah.
I think that's, every entrepreneur faces that point at some stage, I think, and you're right. And I mean, the thing that I can just most honestly say right now is this type of community is so helpful for that. And I think I've seen this in Sacramento, but I think it's also unique to just this area, the Bay Area, Sacramento, is this pay it forward mentality where people are really interested in helping out and learning about, you know, what you're working on, what are your challenges, how can I help? I think that's very, in my travels, that is very unique to this area, and I think that it's such a powerful thing to have in a community, and I think organizations like Startup Grind, Startup Weekend that foster this sense of community where you can be open and transparent in a way that, you know, is not evident in a lot of other locations around the world, where you can say, here's what I'm struggling with, what would you suggest, and just trying to get access to those people who will give you that honest insight. But yeah, maybe in 2 years' time we can have a GFE hotline.
And actually, that's kind of the mission of Startup Grind, is to help support each other. So, you know, maybe just coming here and networking and talking, and don't call me at 1, but call me at 9. I'll talk to you, and you know, and actually, I feel as a director, I'm like the mayor of, like, I could direct people to resources here. So, and sometimes the answer is you need to go to join a. And I would have, with John, you need to join a Bay Area accelerator and get part of the ecosystem. So I could recommend, that's part of my I feel like my duty as a director is to
We
help.
have a great program also. Sorry to keep plugging our programs, but this one is very founder focused, meant to help get founders to the next level in their careers. It's called Black Box Connect. They're based in San Francisco, and they run a 2-week immersion program for founders from outside the Bay Area. And it's really about those who are going through that inflection point and getting them access to mentors, investors. So that's a program we're hugely proud of, and Google for Entrepreneurs provides scholarships to entrepreneurs who go through it. So definitely something to look into. They run 4 programs a year.
It's Black Box?
Yep.
I saw someone over here.
Oh, it was me. I was just going to plug the co-working space. If you're an entrepreneur who needs support, we joke about having our entrepreneur support group at lunchtime. So, just come on over to the Hive and we can complain together.
I was going to recommend to your question and topic the importance of developing a good advisory team for your venture. We think about getting money, getting this, but great advisors are worth more than all the money. And having them understanding that you're going to call on them a couple or 4 times a year, and then learning how to be real efficient with that network. But it might be one of the more overlooked components of startups, and if you can do the work to find those right advisors, they're in all kinds of roles. And it's a small engagement, but it's really priceless. If you have a nice list of advisors that are diverse and can cover the various coverage for you.
Brenda?
So I'm a startup founder. I'm working on a productivity application called ProPlanner. It's a planning and collaboration task management platform for teams. And we're building it on Google's development platform, Polymer on the front end and Firebase on the back end. And we're currently in private beta. We've got about 200 beta testers and collecting a lot of data, getting a lot of information. Is there anyone that you can connect me with on the Polymer team or the Firebase team just to talk to, exchange ideas? I've gone to the Polymer Slack channel.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be super active, nor does
Okay.
the Firebase Slack channel.
Okay.
So,
Let's talk about getting you set up on our cloud credit offer we have, because that does come with some technical support. So maybe we can follow up with Rich
I could sign you up,
afterwards.
actually. It's pretty
Yeah,
easy.
and they do offer technical office hours. I don't know the specifics, but I can look into it.
yeah, I'm looking to talk to folks on those teams,
Yeah.
to actually connect with, get feedback,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
see, and even see if they're interested in working on a side hustle project with us. I don't know if Google allows that, but so.
Yeah, no, let's get you set up with that credit offer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks.
Any more questions? Anita?
Does GFP have any programs coming down the pipeline that we should be aware of?
So we do have 2 more Black Box Connect cycles, that program I was just talking about. We have another exchange program taking place in Durham with our partner American Underground in October. This is actually not vertical focused like the others I'd mentioned previously. It's actually for Black founders with the goal of getting them investment. To John's point, we're really trying to figure out how we can help drive that forward. That's coming up in October. I would say those are the ones immediately to put on your radar. And again, if you follow our Twitter channel, we'll come out with what are the dates, when applications open, and that kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm in the building industry.
Yes.
Other than Flux and Sidewalk Labs being focused in Toronto pretty heavily right now, are you aware of any building industry initiatives or programs other than those 2 through Google?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Any more questions?
Just out of curiosity, what was your undergraduate degree that got you into television?
It didn't. I was an international business major, and I had a friend of a friend who worked for A&E, and they were looking to hire one of the few companies at that moment. And again, I learned a lot on the job. They were able to train me on the job, which was great. So, yeah.
Okay, Laura?
I have a question about the startup.google.com
Yeah.
website. That's curated,
Yes.
right? Is it updated? Like if you go there, are you going to find the best articles, or are you going to find so much stuff that you have to sift through?
We did our very best to make it as useful as possible. It is always updated. So we have a team dedicated to updating it. We're also localizing it in different languages as we speak. So we conducted hundreds of interviews with entrepreneurs and asked what would be most useful to you, and tried to crowdsource and surface a lot of that stuff. So I would say I hope it's as useful as it can be. Yeah, please do. Thanks.
So I have one last question.
Okay.
Who's your favorite superhero?
Wonder Woman.
That was my guess. Well, you're a hero to us just braving the traffic to get here. And so as a thank you, we actually made a game for you.
Oh my gosh.
So thank you so much for coming and
Thank
making it here. And yeah, so it's an actual game, so it works on Android.
That's so sweet. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Thank you, Rich. Thank you. Wow, I love this.